Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Spendthrift Podcast. Going into it today, first up is DMG, blockchain. Bitcoin miners need a Bitcoin price of $2,400 to break even. So this is mainly for large-scale operations because you need at least one petahash of power to hit this break-even point. And this isn't even considering the large capital investment to get to that point, considering those low $1,000 amp miners are only 10 to 20-ish, and theta hashes, or I think it is, or tetra hashes, something like that. So you need a sizable chunk of those to reach the next point. And this really just proves that miners have a very large range they are operating at before they are even close to being in danger of their business going down. All these established miners are safe for a very long time, considering the price is nowhere near $2,400. It's still floating at $8,000. China has filed the most blockchain patents in 2017. So while China has had a very anti-crypto attitude, they love the underlying technology. China has been encouraging blockchain technology in a more regulated fashion. I think the biggest problem China had with crypto is the fact that they didn't have a strong grip on where the capital was flowing. And controlling capital flow is a very big thing for the Chinese government. But as you can see, they're having their own little registration platform now for blockchain companies, so they can more closely monitor and probably more closely just control where money going in and try to get outside investors' money in and retain Chinese investors' money. Crypto kill switch. Monero goes to war against miners. So the Monero community as a whole has decided to move against the ASIC miners, which are the miners that are particularly used to mine Bitcoin and only primarily produced by Bitmain. So due to this limited supply of these miners, networks are typically at risk of centralization because they're really efficient. And the fact that the main manufacturer of these miners are relatively slow in producing more. And while they're risking constantly making the coin less secure by constantly playing whack-a-mole with the manufacturer of these miners, the Monero community rather just avoid and keep these machines out of the mining pools rather than having they rather keep these miners out of the mining pool than care about any future consequences that might come from constantly trying to outmaneuver the advancement of these miners, because eventually I'm sure they'll reach a point where security would be at risk just to avoid these things from having the right software to mine Monero. But they're on the lookout for a better algorithm for the coin that's more resistant to these ASIC miners. France finance minister plans to regulate ICOs to attract crypto startups. So France is looking to develop legislation to foster ICOs. The finance minister considers crypto a revolution and is moving to give them a legitimate platform to help them raise money in a more legally compliant way. So France is kind of 180 from what they were a year ago. Next up is crypto exchange Upbit launches Korea's first cryptocurrency indexes. So there's 4 indexes, and the first one is the market index, which shows the total cryptocurrency market cap weighted against factors of the market's total liquidity and the ratio, the market's liquidity ratio, while providing investors an overview of all coins. Then it's the sector index, which is an index that will classify coins into specific sectors based on characteristics. The Bitcoin index was just focusing on Bitcoin trading prices. And finally, the strategy index, which is a rule-based index, served as an indicator for quantitative investor rules and tracking yields of investors' crypto portfolios. Venezuela's president may have falsified information on the Petro. So this story is looking worse and worse. Monero has potentially claimed that they raised double of what they officially should have raised or actually raised. And in addition, Russia is now getting accused for helping set up Venezuela to being able to run this ICO. And now it's kind of this weird geopolitical thing going down with the U.S. pointing fingers at Russia. And most likely, it's kind of looking like investors might not even get access to this Petro coin. Or if they are, they're going to be severely limited in where they can actually trade it. We got too excited, stated Charlie Lee. Litecoin Foundation apologized after LitePay vanishes. So the CEO of LitePay is already looking to get rid of it. This is after the Litecoin Foundation refused to continue to provide more funds for LitePay because the CEO's inability to provide solid details about how and where the funds were being spent. So it's left to the CEO just getting rid of LitePay completely. So this kind of just shows you need to be careful where you're putting your faith into these organizations with crypto, because sometimes even if they have like a MVP or anything like that, they could still just up and vanish because, you know, they're burning crazy amount of money that they really shouldn't be even utilizing. Nvidia CEO, GPU production boost needed because of crypto miners. So Nvidia's higher end products are flying off the shelves because of crypto. This is crypto gamers' abilities to buy good graphics cards. However, the CEO said they are trying to meet demand as best they can, and crypto only takes up a small portion of the business. However, through the last quarterly earnings of Nvidia, you can see that it kind of did correlate some with the increased demand of mining graphics cards. And to further support that, AMD is kind of saying the opposite of Nvidia. Why? Well, because Bitmain has developed the Ethereum ASIC miner, and this Wall Street analyst is claiming that it's putting risk on current GPU manufacturers. So Ethereum's future is possibly at risk if you have the Monero line of thinking, because these miners do centralize these miners do centralize who is producing the most coins. And since, like I said, Bitmain supply is quite limited, you can really ensure that the biggest players are the ones who are going to get their hands on the good pre-orders first. And while Nvidia itself is claiming that this case of these ASIC miners getting prolific won't really affect their business since it's a small part of the overall thing, AMD has recognized that miners switching off from GPUs to other things, or just miner demand decreasing, is a threat to their business, which has made this Wall Street analyst say their price target for AMD stock is halved, and Nvidia's goes down a lowly $10 from their 213 or something that they had. South Korea's largest multi-billion-dollar conglomerates are entering the Bitcoin space. So basically, all of Korea's major conglomerates are in crypto somehow. Most of them are running exchanges. A lot of them are kind of collaborating on running exchanges, but a few like Samsung are looking to get into starting mining operations. So Korea is trying to solidify itself as a hotspot for cryptocurrency, considering all these major corporations are entrenching themselves in the industry. IBM VP confirms Stellar Lumens will be used as a bridge asset. So Stellar is being utilized by IBM, and it's come to a surprise as many because a lot of these partnerships with coins either don't use the coin's actual, like the coin itself, you usually use software that the coin's company developed rather than the coin. But in this case, the coin Stellar Lumens is actually being used, and it's being used as a bridge asset for IBM's universal payment platform. Coinbase announced support for Ethereum's ERC20 token. So Coinbase seems to be preparing to accept ERC20 tokens in the future. Considering that right now there's a real big legal minefield regarding ICOs, it probably won't be seen anytime soon. Like, new additions will probably not be seen anytime soon. However, once U.S. regulation gets a lot clearer, you can definitely see a larger chunk of ERC20 coins getting offered on Coinbase. But that will be however long it takes for the U.S. regulation to get a lot less dumb. And finally, Litecoin dark web adoption rises as Monero privacy flaws exposed. So for some odd reason, Litecoin is gaining adoption in the dark web. Monero has 2 privacy flaws that's been exposed, which are the coins that go through the mixer are actually identifiable despite the mixing, and the identification of transaction times, which can lead to being able to identify where and when specifically wallets are paying for services when combined with the last thing. And despite this, it doesn't have a 100% success rate, but it's still more. But this still leads to Monero being a lot more criminal friendly than Litecoin, but it's losing adoption to Litecoin for whatever reason. No clue why they're picking Litecoin over another privacy coin, but that's what's happening. Monero is seeing a little less usage on the dark web as Bitcoin's already waning and on its way out, and apparently Litecoin's on its way in. And final announcement, there'll probably be a hiatus or closing of the podcast, unfortunately. Reasons why? Well, it's 2 major reasons where if only one of these existed, it wouldn't be a problem. But it's more of just the real main reason is time, and kind of a secondary reason is just budgeting for the upkeep, maintenance, money wise. Which, like I said, the second one wouldn't really be a problem if it wasn't for the first one, which the first one's the real thing. It's just, it takes a decent chunk of time to curate and record various news articles, and currently time is not something I have a lot of. And then considering the other one, the more minor secondary issue of budget maintenance, that could be solved by having assistance, but that's not in the cards because I kind of run on a shoestring budget and make it work. So probably, 100% the website will be down in the near future, but all episodes will remain. Will still be on their respective platforms, and quite possibly in the next, around maybe next August, you can see a resurrection, another revival. But that kind of depends on a couple things. But we can have some hope for that, maybe. But as it stands, just look at the state of the podcast as you would the industry right now. Is expect the worst, but hope for the best. So after this Saturday, there will 100% not be any new episodes. The last episode will be another interview, and that'll be it, like I said, for the foreseeable future. And probably won't be reachable via email, so if you want to reach me, you might want to use the Facebook or my Twitter. One of those two. I don't really care for Telegram either. So Facebook or Twitter, the official Facebook page if you want to say anything, or just DM on Twitter. But yeah, hopefully we'll be back in the next couple of months. Maybe, maybe not, but have some hopes. So this has been the final news episode for now. And stay tuned for the final episode on Friday. It's an interview episode about actually spending your crypto. So hope you tune in for that one.